Grab your tiniest scraps and your favorite cozy drink, because today we're turning fabric crumbs into something beautiful. Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Jackie and I love using scrap fabric to make Quilt-As-You-Go quilt blocks, scrap fabric blocks, and other scrap fabric projects. In today's video, we're working on day 5 of our 30-day scrap quilt challenge. And day 5 is tiny pieces. No piece bigger than 2 inches. Now I'm thinking that some of these pieces may be a little bigger than 2 inches, but we'll break the rules a little bit, okay? And I'm simply using my crumbs, those little bits and pieces that are too small for anything else, but too pretty to throw away. Crumb quilting is a technique where you take tiny fabric scraps. Often they have to have a straight edge somewhere, but if they don't, it's okay, we can make that work. And you sew them together one by one to create new one-of-a-kind fabric. In this case, a crumb quilt block. Today we'll be using this method to make a 12-inch square quilt block. Perfectly imperfect and full of character. For each day in this challenge, a new prompt helps you spark ideas and play with your scraps. Anything goes. I've got a free prompt sheet for you to download, and the link to that will be in the description box below. I'll be making each block, but you make the blocks how you would like. Okay, these are prompts. We're all going to see these prompts differently. On the last day, we'll complete the final block and assemble the entire quilt in a quilt-as-you-go fashion. Let's get started. Let's go over the materials that you're going to need for this project. First, scrap fabric. Whatever you have, small pieces. We will also use some strips, and I'll show you that technique as well. That's a lot of fun. You'll need a piece of batting, 12.5 inches square, 1 piece of backing fabric, 12.5 inches square, your basic sewing notions. I do have my small rotating mat out just in case. I have a small ruler, rotary cutter, some scissors, and the sewing machine. So let's get started with this project. I do have my pressing mat out. You can use your seam roller to do this, or you can press them out with the iron. It's whatever preference you have for that. So first, we will just grab a couple pieces of fabric. And again, these are tiny pieces of fabric. And we're looking for a straight seam to sew this together. Now what you could do is do a bunch of these so that you can take them to the sewing machine and sew them together in a chain piecing fashion. And they're right sides together. We're not caring what we're grabbing. Just like that. And as long as you have a straight edge to sew on, you should be fine. If you don't, you can use your ruler and your rotary cutter or scissors to straighten that edge. I'm going to take these 3 to the sewing machine and do a 1/4 inch seam allowance on each of these. Now I have 3 pieces of fabric that I've sewn together. Try to bring you in closer here. I'm going to snip them apart and give them a quick press to open them. This goes together really fast. And you could press your fabrics before you begin as well. We'll get rid of this. And now we have these 3 pieces of fabric. Here you see I have a crooked edge. And I'll simply use my rotary cutter to cut that. And here I need to straighten this edge up. Just like that. And I could put these 2 together. And this I'll need to straighten up as well. So you want to do like a batch operation. But for the sake of the video, I want to take you step by step. So I could take this to the sewing machine and sew this on here. We will press this and press it open. And I want to see where I can get a straight edge. Put that back in the crumb pile. That. And look at that, it's already starting to look like a little block. Next we want to see what we can add to that. So we're going to take these 2 and put them together. Just like that. 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then I have this. And I will add that to this block here. And sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And our block is already growing. Let's work on another patch. We could do these 2 together and these 2 together. It's hard to decide. There we go. We could do these 2 together. I'm not even worried that this is a triangle. I'll go sew those together and I'll be right back. And just like that, we've got 3 new pieces of patchwork. I'll press those. And again, if you wanted, you could use your seam roller and just cut this. Anything goes. Then we could put these 2 together. I'll go do that. There's that one. And where could we add this one? First, we need to trim that up. We could add that one right here or right here. There's this piece coming along. Use your ruler to straighten that edge. And this may fit here. So we'll sew those 2 together. I think I will straighten this edge. Actually, yeah, we'll put these two together because we have two straight edges. It's still growing, guys. All right, let's straighten this up a little. Now I want to show you another technique I like to use. Let me iron this piece. You may have leftovers from a wonky piece like this, and then all you would need to do, what else do we have in here? You could just take this piece, lay it here, and this piece, this piece, this piece. This is a little bigger than 2 inches. So we'll trim that. Give it a quick press, just like that. Here's some teeny tiny pieces. So we'll put that right there. And I'm going to go to the sewing machine and sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way down this straight side. Now we've got what looks like a hot mess, but we'll simply take our rotary cutter and just cut, or if you want to use your ruler, you can do that too, but we're supposed to be playing today, so we're just going to go for it. You could use your scissors. I'm going to cut those apart, and we have these. How cute. Another teeny tiny. And then we will lay these together. I'll lay those two together. This one. And it's okay if it's overhanging. We will just trim that. And then these two little ones together and sew those together. All right, here's what we have. I'm not worried if 2 of the same fabric show up. It's perfectly fine. And there we have some that we can connect. And we'll probably want to trim this and trim right there, a little bit there, and here. This one is uneven. So even though the strips are bigger than 2 inches, don't be afraid to use those to speed up the process. Something else you can do, you have these that you used in another project. You had leftovers like this. You could simply add that right there and add this one. Right there. Let me do that and I'll be right back. And we'll simply come in here and cut that apart. And we have another block. How cool is that? So many possibilities. Here's a tiny piece of fabric. And let me see. We have all of these that we could put on there. Let me iron this. So we could put this one here. This one. Here. This one is a little short. Let me see what I can find in here. We'll just use this little piece. Just like that. And if it gets too small for you, I completely understand. This is kind of one of those projects that is kind of putsy for me, but we want to do it so that we have something relaxing and fun to do. So don't get overwhelmed by it, just have fun with it. Let me go sew this, and that's what it looks like here. We'll just cut those apart. Press those open. And I really think these are so adorable. And for these, we could just sew opposites like that. And then we have this. So we could actually combine, let me see if we can combine these two. We could combine these two right away and then add this one. Look how darling that is. We can bring this back into the mix, or maybe I'll wait till I bring this over. Let's do another strip and add to it. Let's look in our strip pile here. We want a pretty long one. And we could use this one and just trim up on this side. And then we just need some tiny pieces for that. And again, we'll just lay those on there. Whatever pieces you have. Make some different sizes. I love this piece. And then we just need a teeny tiny. If you can squeeze them together, that's even better, so you can add to the bottom. You could even add this one, but it doesn't fit. Let's cut I know we're cutting these really tiny. There we go. We have a whole strip just like that. We'll go ahead and sew and cut those apart. Here's what we have. So we'll just use our rotary cutter and go in between here. And then our teeny tiny, I'm putting my teeny tinies over here. Kind of like mini quilt blocks within one quilt. I'll take this and sew this together. This one, I'll sew this one together. And then I will sew this to this one. All right, and now we have these pieces. And what I'm doing, I'm checking to see how far I need to go to get to my 12.5 inches. And we're getting pretty close this way with this patch. Here I want to straighten up. Let me press this real quick. And then I could put these two together, just like that. It's kind of like a puzzle, right? Now these two, I think I can put together right away. Just like that. I've got straight enough edges. And I'll just put it like that. Now let's straighten this up a little bit. We have a straight edge there. And this white on the outside is 12 inches. So we're getting there. And if I add this on, I just need some stuff at the bottom. That will get me over the 12 inches. So let's straighten this up a little. And then at the bottom, we will need to straighten this, but we can still use it. We will just add it to our little pile. And then I'm going to add, let me see what we have here. Yes, here is the white. Hopefully you can see that on my mat. Here's the white and here's the white. So we do have enough for the 12.5 inches this way. And I think I'll go like that. And then I just need to come down and add to it this way. I hope that all makes sense. So let's take another long strip. Or let's see what I have in the bottom here. What you can do is just start chain piecing. Like we have these we could put together. Just like that. And we will take a strip of here. I really need to organize this, guys. I have such a mess going on here. How about this? Here we go. Here is a long one. There we go. So we're going to add these here on this strip. Move that out of the way. We'll add it to this strip, just like this. And again, what you would want to do is make a batch of 2s and then maybe some 4 patches and do it as you go along. I'm just trying for the sake of the video to show you how I'm doing it. Here's another strip complete. And we will just cut those apart. just like that. And you've got all these cute little blocks. And we can't forget about our littles up here, so let's see what we have. Let's add this here. Here's a little one. Here's a block. We could add that with this. We could add this here and trim up. I think I'll save these two. We could do these two together. And these two together. And these two together. This looks like a hot mess, doesn't it? We'll cut all these apart and see what we have. And I like, there's like a teeny tiny sliver in there of fabric. And then we can square this one up. And this is the cutest because it's a teeny tiny 4-patch. Just like that. We don't know what this one is yet, but it's going to be something. Look at that. This is a simple 4-patch and another 4-patch. How cute. And we'll have to trim this one up. So let's see what will fit here. Nothing yet. What we could do is take another strip. What do we have here? And add these right here. There we go. We could sew those on that one. We'll take this one and sew these on here. Or what if we did this one on there? It's all about playing, right? I added this onto that. This hot mess onto this strip. And then this little strip down here. And then this 4-patch, I'm adding to this piece here and to this piece, this cutie pie. I'm going to go sew that and I'll be right back. All right, here's what we ended up with. So I'm going to cut right there and cut right there and here. And remember guys, these were all scraps. Okay, so feel free to use these to create something new. I love how this turned out. It's just another sliver in there, just kind of peeking out. And then we have this one. Let's see what we got here. Look at that. And then if you wanted, you could make this one a little more narrow. I'll trim right there. And the same thing with this one. You could narrow that up if you wanted. Put that in the pile. Let's kind of see what we have here. And then I think I'll sew this one on here. Let's take a peek at our grid here and see what we have going on. I could put this here. If I move this over, this can come here. This piece can go here, so I'll go ahead and do that real quick. Look how this teeny tiny fabric peeks out. How cute. All right, so there's that. Now this up here is going to have to be trimmed because see this corner? Or I could just add something to it. I could add this up here. See this, our teeny tiny piece we were saving? We will just put that right on there. I will need to trim this up. And this side. And then that teeny tiny corner is filled in. And I think I will go like that. Or do I want to go... I don't want to lose too much of it. Or maybe I want to do this. So I need to add on this side. So now we have this. I need a little sliver on this side. And we can just use something like this to add on. I'm not sure about that purple, but maybe this, because I just need a little bit over here. I do have some more of this. That's what it's about, guys. It's just about playing around. I am going to go find my solution for the rest of this. And I think what I'm going to do is actually cut this one like here. And flip it around and connect them like this. All right, I have an idea. I'm going to take this strip and I will sew this side. I'll sew these two pieces together. Then I'll sew this long side to this long side, and I'll sew these two pieces together and sew this to this. Let's try that. Look at this. What a hot mess, right? But I love it. It's so darling, and I think I made it to my 12 inches. It's gonna be close. Let's see, let's just trim up edges first. Let me get a straight edge here. Because it's gonna be pretty close. All right, that is straight there. Now, if I take this to 12, I think we're going to be okay. Maybe a little bit right there, but that's fine. Okay. There we go. I'm ready to add the batting and the backing. And I think for this one, I'm just going to do some swirlies all over it. When I have that done, I'll be right back. I am totally in love with this. Here's the back. I just used squiggly lines. Time to square it up. And hopefully we can get a 12-inch block from this. I think right there. Move it over a little. There's that side. We'll flip this around. We are pretty close. And there's the reveal. What did you think of the tiny pieces prompt for today? I hope you'll give it a try. I hope I didn't make it too complicated, but basically you're just taking those small pieces that you threw into a basket, sewing them all together to get whatever size block you want. You can just save them for later. That's a great idea. But I hope you are enjoying the 30-day scrap quilt challenge. Just leave a comment and let me know if you enjoy crumb quilting. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a Bible verse and a final thought to encourage you. The Bible verse for today is John chapter 6, verse 12. Gather up the fragments that remain, so that nothing is lost. What a perfect verse for today. Just like these tiny fabric crumbs, nothing in our lives is wasted in God's hands. Every small moment, every experience, even the broken or leftover bits, can be pieced together into something whole and meaningful. As you sew your crumbs today, remember that even the smallest pieces can create a masterpiece when touched by grace. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and commenting. It truly means the world to me. And until the next video, God bless you.